What is up everyone, and in this video I'm going to teach you everything you should know about typed function composability in Golang. It's a very important aspect that is not being taught on YouTube. It's actually almost not being found on the internet, but it's very important if you want to be a high value software engineer, especially in Golang. So let's get started. So like usual, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I highly consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a thumbs up, leave some questions in the comment, jump into the Discord so I can turn you into a high value software engineer. So and like usual, I'm gonna do this with a real life use case, something that's basically, like I mentioned before, I'm gonna close the gap between simple tutorial code and things you will do on your job. So for example, a very common use case, for example, we have a type server, right? And the server is going to be a struct, and the server will have nothing for now. And we're going to say s server, let's say handle request or something, you never know, which is going to return an error. Like usual, to keep it Golang friendly, we're going to return nil. And in this handle request, for example, they're going to give us, for example, a file name, which is going to be a string. And let me close this window. We're going to get a file name. And what we're going to do with this file name is we're going to we're going to change the file name itself into a new file name. And then we're going to, for example, store that file at that certain location we just transformed it into, right? So you could say, for example, let's make it some kind of a get type transformer where you say, again, the hash. I have something with hash. I don't know what it is, but it's very common. So we're going to say the hash of the file name is going to be, for example, SHA-256 sum256. We're going to take in a slice of bytes, which is going to be slice of the file name, slice of bytes of the file name, for example. And we have this hash, right? And then we're going to say that the new file name is going to be hex encode to string. There's going to be the hash, and of course we need to make sure it's a slice of bytes, right? And then we have a new file name, and then we can actually say, for example, fmt println, a new file name is going to be this new file name, right? Like this, okay? And then we could say in our main function, we could say s is going to be pointed to a server, and we're going to say s handle request, and let's say cool.jpg, right? Of maybe a cool picture. Yeah, cool picture .jpg, maybe some nudes or something. I don't know. Hey, you tell me. Cool. So if we run this function, and I already did some tests with it, we're going to say go run main.go, for example. We can see we have a new file name, and it's basically a nice SHA-256 hash of our file name, and then we can maybe split it up and do some content addressable folder storage or something. Hey, you choose what you're going to do with it. So that's all good, but the problem is, like, how are we going to test this? How are we going to test that this file name is actually doing what it needs to do? You could say, yeah, but we can test this handle request, but then you need to spin up an HTTP server test and a recorder and all that shenanigans. That's not cool just to test this simple thing. What a lot of people will do is, yeah, it's very easy, Anthony, what the hell are you talking about? We just make a function, and we're going to say, for example, hash file name, right? And then we're going to take in a file name, which is going to be a string, is going to return a string, and we're going to just say, yo, we copy this shenanigans here. Actually, we can delete it. Hop. We paste it in here, and then we can return the new file name. New file name. Like that, right? And then instead of, you could say new file name is going to be hash file name. Like this. We put in the file name. Right, and if we run this bad boy once again, wait, new file name is undefined for some reason. Didn't I not save this? Yes, my bad. So then we have the same thing. It's working perfectly fine. Cool. You're right. But this is mediocre, and I'm going to teach you how to be superior, you know? So what if we want to do, for example, a SHA-1, right? Or maybe we don't want to do a SHA-1. Maybe we want to make a prefix, right? We want to prefix it with GG, for example, right? Or maybe we want to, I don't know, do a HMAC. I don't know. Maybe we want to do it dynamically. How are we going to do that? Make a switch inside of it? And how are we going to test that? And how are we going to compose that? Well, that is where function or even typed function composability kicks in. We could use an interface for this, but an interface is a good option. But if the thing you want to do does not need to take any state, then an interface does not make any sense, right? Because if you want to, a lot of the time, you make a struct which implements your interface, but if you make an empty struct that implements your interface, why would you do that? It holds no state, right? So if you're 100% sure that your thing, your interface will not have state, then you can make it a typed function, right? So what we could do, for example, to make this elite, we could say type, and we could say a transform func, for example, right? And the transform func is going to be a func that will take in a string, right? And it will return a string, okay? That's cool. So basically, our hash file name already implements this transform func. That's pretty cool. So what we then can say is, for example, in our server, we can make some configuration, because right now there is no configuration that will tell us what kind of logic we need to apply, right? That's to even say, we cannot change it on runtime. We cannot change it when our server is already running. There is no way to change the logic, right? So what we could do is basically say that my file name transformer, for example, file name transform func, right, is going to be of type transform func, right? So what we could do then in server is, wait, let us do this. This is the new file name. It's not the hash file name. It's going to be as file name transform func, the file name, right? And then we need to specify at configuration time, right? We're going to say that our file name transform func, and excuse me for this weird function names, but hey, I hope you understand this. We're going to say it's going to be our hash file name, right? And if we run that again, let's clear the screen. Then we're going to see it works perfectly fine, right? But what if we want to do a simple thingy, for example, GG prefixer, GG prefix file name, which is going to take, it's going to be a file name. It's going to be a string, returning a string, hop, hop, and then we're going to say return me GG underscore plus file name like that. And then we could say, I don't want this hash file name func, file name thingy. I want to have the GG prefixer, right? And then we could say go and may not go. And now it's prefixed with GG. Is that cool? So you can see that you can already test these things separately, right? There's no need to test your handler request because you can test all these file name shenanigans separately, right? And composability. But you can already see it coming, right? GG prefix file name. We can make this even better. We can make this even better, right? This is a little step higher than mediocre, but what I'm gonna show you now is actually elite. It's the elite tier, right? It's what basically gonna make you hired and gonna raise your paycheck with an incredible amount. So instead of saying prefix file name, we're gonna say prefix file name, right? Let's make it small caps for this thing. And instead of saying file name here, right, we're gonna say, yo, I want a prefix, and it's gonna be a string, right? Of course, it's not gonna work because we need a file name, right? And there is no file name. So instead of returning a string, what we're gonna do is we're gonna return a transform func, right? We're gonna return a transform func. We're gonna say return me a function, which is a transform func. What is a transform func? Takes in a string, a file name, right? Which is gonna be a string, returns a string. So we're gonna return, but instead of GG, which is hard-coded, we're gonna return the prefix, right? Prefix here, plus file name. And then instead of calling this GG prefix file name in our server, in our configuration, right, we're gonna say prefix file name. And then we're gonna say, for example, Bob. Prefix this with Bob or something. I don't know. You tell me, right? And if we run that again, then we have a Bob cool picture, right? And I think I'm gonna make it an underscore here. I don't know why. It's my OCD kicking in. What's going on here? Go to minute, go, boom, and we have prefix with Bob. So you can see how we went from something very hard-coded to something that's so dynamic and generic and composable that everybody's going to be happy at your job that you are inside of their team, right? That is it. If you like this video, consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a thumbs up, leave some questions in the comments, because I'm going to drop this kind of goodness each almost each and every single day. And I'm looking forward to see you in one of my live streams or in my Discord channel. Bye-bye.